Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mid-Atlantic Mauling League Spike Magazine Trophy after a long week 4. We are here in week number 5. It's the midway point of regulation here in competition number 2 of the season, and we've got a pretty bashy one up tonight. Tonight, it's going to be the Fist Noel versus MAML Nightmare, Coast Modernism versus Festoon Dwarves versus Necro. Let's take a look at the standings at the end of week 4, and then we'll take a look at the two teams tonight. It's actually not the end of week 4. We've had a few games already. We had a game this morning played, which obviously I didn't stream. But already a few games under the belts of some of these teams here in week number 5. And in first place in Division A is the NC Snakes, coached by Move. They're a Dark Elf team. They are 4-0-0 here in this competition. They are followed by one of the teams up tonight, MAML Nightmare, coached by Festoon. They're the second place team. They're a Necromantic Horror team, and they're 3-1-0. Tizork Savage Boys won this week as well. That's Tizzle Bizzle's Orc team. They're in third place. They are 2-2-0. Oh no, Move said the Blitzer I named for you died last night. Snake Plissken died? I don't believe it. In Division B, in first place, are the Lizards of the Pipstars, coached by Dead Fred. They're 3-0-1, followed by BB Nuts Believe Broncos. They're a Nurgle team. They're undefeated with a record of 3-0-0. And the Remnants of Valor, coached by S. Beaver, are in third place, a human team, with a record of 2-1-1. Finally, in Division C, we have in first place another Lizard team. This is Spire's Philosopher's Song. They're 3-0-1. They are followed by the Goodest Boys Strike Back, coached by Old Gamer Mike. They're a Necro team. They're 2-2-0. And the Fishy Fiends are in third. That's Ajax's Chaos Renegades team. They're 2-1-1. Move says he's been replaced by Snake Plissken just for Ava number 2 now. He's Snake Plissken from Escape from LA. That's who he is. All right, before we take a look at the two teams tonight, I wanted to point this out. Look at this. Festoon's MAML Nightmare. Lots of money in the treasury. 425,000 gold. They have not rolled for expensive mistakes yet. That means if they don't spend this money, there is a 1 in 6 chance that they're going to lose half that treasury in just a few minutes. So we'll see if that happens or not. But if they do spend that money, that is more TV that's going to be going back to the Dwarf team tonight, and that Dwarf team will be the home team, the Fist Noel. They have 12 players on their roster and even 1 million gold for their team value. 2 players will not be starting this evening, Reith Erickson and Caramel, you faithful. The number 2 Troll Slayer will not be participating this evening due to injuries. They'll have to pick up a journeyman, and that's another 70k. It's going to bring their TV up to 1,070,000 gold. They have just the 1 Troll Slayer. They have just the 1 runner, 2 blitzers, and a bunch of linemen. 1 apothecary, 1 dedicated fan, 3 rerolls. They're going to be up against the Necro team tonight, MAML Nightmare. They have 12 on their roster. Everybody will be starting tonight. Their TV is 1,300,000. Oh, boo. 1,370,000 gold in team value. That's 300,000 gold in petty cash going back to the Dwarf team. We'll talk about what some of the options might be with that tonight. You can see he succeeded the expensive mistakes roll. That was a 1/3 chance to succeed without any losses. Worked out there. So 425,000 gold in the bank for MAML Nightmare. They have both our werewolves this evening, 2 wraiths, 2 ghoul runners, 2 flesh golems, and a handful of zombies. 6 dedicated fans and 2 rerolls. How are these two teams going to play tonight? I think it comes down to these 2 players right here, Dragon Redclaw, Craven Bladeclaw. If we look at the Dwarven team, Dwarves are very resilient, very bashy, lots and lots and lots of block. They have thick skulls and high AV. They are slow. The runner, the 1 runner that will be on the pitch tonight, Jingle Bellefleur, has an MA of 6. That's the fastest piece on the pitch this evening. But most of the players here, these linemen, they're strict, sorry, not a strength, they're a movement of 4. So they're a very, very slow team. They're going to cage up on offense. They're going to bash down pitch, try to get in the end zone as late as possible. On defense, they're going to try to bash the team. They're going to try to get a player advantage. They're going to try to stay in front of that opposing cage and just try to murder some players tonight. Their big weakness is really their lack of speed, and they're up against a pretty speedy team tonight. MAML Nightmare on offense might not have too much of a problem, as they have 2 werewolves and the 2 ghoul runners. These 4 players are the ball carriers for this team, and lots of speed behind them. The 2 werewolves are an MA of 8, the ghoul runners an MA of 7, but these werewolves are going to be the key tonight, and that is because These are the blitzers with Frenzy, with Block, and with Claw. They have a lot of speed to get to where they need to be. Frenzy plus Block means they're looking at 4 die blocks, if they're lucky, 6 die blocks against these dwarves that have high armor, but you don't have to worry about it because you got Claws. Claw treats everybody's AV as if it's an 8+. This is a very powerful threat against these dwarves. That means these werewolves are going to have giant blinking targets on their backs. Festoon has to keep these werewolves safe. I think Dragon Redclaw is going to be doing the majority of the work tonight just because that's the safer werewolf, has block and dodge. But of course, up against a dwarf team, there is a lot of tackle on that dwarf team. Tackle negates dodge. So it's going to be very, very tricky, I think, for MAML Nightmare. They need to leverage those werewolves to get these dwarfs off the pitch. If they could do that, they've won. No question about it. But if they can't do that, then they need to be careful that these werewolves are being kept safe. If these werewolves are not kept safe, then the dwarves are absolutely going to take the block and try to remove these werewolves. They might even take the foul to get rid of a werewolf. So it's going to be very, very tricky. Again, Frenzy means that, we've talked about it time and again, but Frenzy means that if you take a block, you've got to follow up. So while it's very, very good for getting the blocks and trying to remove players, it's very, very bad for positioning. You'll often see in a game, well, maybe not often, but often in games, you'll see at least once or twice, maybe even more times than that a werewolf will take a blitz, has to follow up due to Frenzy, and now needs to roll some dice to dodge away to safety. So Festoon needs to be mindful of that. With just the 2 rerolls, it's going to be a little trickier in order to leverage these werewolves in a way that is safe. But there's a lot of money coming back to these dwarves. So the dwarves, of course, worrying about the werewolves, but what can they do? 300,000 gold to the Fist Noel in inducements tonight. Of course, that could be a Griff Oberwald. Griff Oberwald, a great piece. MA7, strength of 4. This gives them speed, but the problem with Griff with this dwarf team is that the dwarf team can't really keep up with Griff. Griff is a blodger. He has sprint. He has sure feet. He's a fantastic star player. Another option would be Cindy Pie Whistle, and of course the Mighty Zug. Mighty Zug leans a little bit more into the dwarven playstyle, has a strength of 5, has block and Mighty Blow. Mighty Blow gives you a +1 on your armor or your injury roll. But there is another option that I wonder if we're going to see tonight. He can pick up, don't forget, you see star players and inducements on here, but what you don't see are the mercs. You can pick up a mercenary for your team. Mercenaries are 30,000 gold more expensive than a normal player. There is, of course, the dreaded Death Roller. The Fist Noel could pick up a Death Roller. It's normally 170k. As a mercenary, it's 200k, and that leaves, wouldn't you know it, 100k left over for a bribe. So I think we could see a Death Roller and a bribe, and now that Death Roller with a Mighty Blow +2 can start trying to murder. Can you murder somebody who's undead? We'll try to re-murder. Unmurder? We'll try to re-murder this Necro team. Bad Dog. Bad Dog Boom Festoon. Welcome all to the stream. Clypheus, Mr. Rocker Crocker as well. Bad Dog says, don't encourage the Death Rollers. Moom says, this is heresy talk here. Why would you even suggest that? We'll see what happens here as this game gets underway. Looks to be clear skies for this game this evening. It's a lovely dwarven pitch. Oh, look at the banners. That's awesome. The MAML Nightmare banners in the stands. That's so cool. Mr. Rocker Crocker says, I find the lack of secret weapons very disappointing. The White Dwarf himself coaching this dwarven team. Red versus black on the pitch. The dwarves in red, the Necro team in black. $300,000 gold for the Fist Noel. Will it be a Death Roller? Oh, the anticipation. So you can see here under... Oh, it's going to be a Zug. All right, he's picking up a Zug. I think that means we're going to see a Cindy Pie Whistle as well. So you can see the death roller here, plus, it's normally 170, plus 30, it's 200. Oh, he is going to pick up Griff! So the Fist Noel picks up Griff Oberwald himself, one of my favorite star players in the game. It's going to be tricky to leverage, I think, with the Dwarven team, but we'll give him some speed to go up against this speedy Necro team. We'll see how that works out. MAML Nightmare wins the coin toss, and they want to be on offense first, the punch. And now the Dwarves will set up their defense. They will have to screen out this very fast team because if one of these ghoul runners or one of these werewolves gets behind the Dwarves won't be able to catch them. That duck says Griff Dwarves Black. All right, there's the screen by the defense. 5 on the line for the offense. Headless Horseman, the rookie ghoul runner, back to receive here on the kickoff. No kicker for the Dwarves. Decent kick by the Dwarves. It's going to be kicked over into the left wide zone on the 12-yard line, just off the left sideline. 2-die block to get things started is a double skull against Tinsel. Spends a reroll here on the very first block of the game. MAML Nightmare down to 1 reroll for the rest of the half, and that is very, very dangerous. We've talked about this plenty of times, but those rerolls are so important because when you're only talking about a handful of options, right, on a D6, there's only 6 options. A reroll is huge. It significantly changes your odds. And so losing those rerolls means that your odds are significantly downgraded and your opponent can play to that. 2-die block over on the right side after the stun. Takes the both down result to get another 2-die block. This time, Brack the Bludgeoner on the block gets a push. Griff Oberwald, the star player, wearing number 3 here for the Fist Noel on defense. Humbug, the number 12 lineman, sitting out this drive. So took blocks on the line before securing the ball. Might be counting out some spaces here to decide where this ball is going to be. Wants to receive the ball with the Headless Horseman, but the Headless Horseman is not the player that has sure hands, so trying to get some SPP on the Headless Horseman. Works out here on the 3+ pickup. Moves the ball back a space. Now on the 14-yard line. Covers the ball carrier in the left wide zone. Not so trusty Patches. Oh, thank you so much for the sub. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Thank you very much for your kindness. I appreciate it. BB Nut, welcome to the stream. Spire demands some death. BB Nut says 6 a.m. today. Did I put it on the... Oh, okay. I was like, did I put it on the calendar for the wrong day? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stream it. I won't be awake, but I'll be awake enough. Turn 1 now for the Fist Noel. It's been a while since I've seen 6 a.m. Well, so I'm due. It's time. Perfect. Thank you very much, BB Nut. Minute 10 to go here in turn number 1. Fist Noel taking a mark over in the left wide zone. They reset their defensive players on the line. I'm nothing if not a man of the people. 6 a.m. Tuesday is going to make the rest of Tuesday not so fun. Whoa! 3+ dodge by Griff Oberwald for the blitz. Gets the knockdown on Mortis the Mangled. 10 plus breaks armor, but doesn't get it. Two-die block here at the start of turn 2 against Jingle Bellefleur. Gets a pal. Breaks armor! Gets a stun out of it. You cheer every time you break the armor of a dwarf. BB Nut asks, 4 more weeks of regular season? That is 5 more weeks. This week and then 4 more. So there are 9 weeks of regulation. Old Gamer Mike says, I get off at work at 6 a.m. Two-die blitz over in the right wide zone. Gets a knockdown here against Frostbite. There's the armor break. 8 plus breaks armor with these wolves. Again, has to follow up there and repositions on the blitz with the final point of movement. BB Nut says 9 weeks of regulation and 18 playoffs. That is correct. Ball's going to advance to the 4-yard line for the offense, to their own 4-yard line, I should say. "35 seconds to go here for the Mammal Nightmare. They are on offense. Again, those 2 werewolves will be the key to this matchup." BB says it's about 7 to 8 more weeks until I get to throw flings at you all. I look forward to it. Turn 2 now for the fist, Noel. The fist, Noel. I told Nick Satan Nick Satan is one of the league commissioners and a coach in the league, if you're unfamiliar, and is currently coaching a halfling team. I told Nick Satan to just roll blitzes on the kickoff event when you're on defense. Throw a fling into the end zone. That's all you got to do. You're solid. You're good to go. 2-die block. Oh, I'm sorry, 1-die block over in the left wide zone here gets the knockdown. Mr. Rocker Crocker says, I just noticed Griff gross. Griff is awesome when I'm fielding him. 2-die on the left side of the line is going to be a both standing result. Flesh Golem stays right where he is, thanks to that stand firm skill. Stand firm says that if you get pushed back on a block, you don't actually have to get pushed back. You can stay right where you are. And that you don't need to stay on your feet to proc that. Even if you get knocked down, you can stay right where you are. Blitz by Holly Ann Divey. Wrestles to the ground on the frenzy follow-up. Wrestle knocks both pieces down, but it's not a turnover, and you don't roll the armor break. Griff Dwarfs. Griff is a lovely human. Look at him. Look how noble he is. He looks beautiful in this color scheme. Yeah, Griff with the armor break gets a stun. I still have my Griff model boxed up. I haven't opened it. Turn 3 now for Mammal Nightmare. Mr. Rocker Crocker, no. Griff has earned more increases than a player should. He's just that good. 2-die block by Brack the Bludgeoner over in the right wide zone. Gets a knockdown on the Journeyman. Know who's better than Griff, BB Nut asks? Ivar, Raiding Party. Yeah, Raiding Party's cool. 2-die blitz in the right wide zone against Shane Fairytale McCoyle? Well, he's knocked out. McCole. We just know him knocked out. 1 minute player advantage for the Mammal Nightmare. I have not seen a raiding party tree. That's the power of the werewolves. Watch out for them all game long. Both standing result back on the line here with 1 minute to go and turn at the top of turn 3. Ball's going to cross the line of scrimmage and scoot into the opposing 4-yard line over in the right wide zone. Here's the foul against Frostbite. Gets called off the pitch instantly. Got a... Oh, I beg your pardon. Took the foul of Frostbite, stunned Frostbite. The ref called him off, but he said, you know what? Actually, you look like a ref. You know what you're talking about. Successfully argued the call. And Rotgut McSmash is going to stay on the pitch. Not So Trusty Patches says, look up the updated instructions when you build Griff. The original instructions are wrong and will mess up his head. Thanks. Thanks for the beta. I will absolutely do that. I didn't foul him. I fell over him. I mean, look, it's you know, he's taking up so much space just splayed out. How could I not trip over him? Old Gamer Mike asks Not So Trusty Patches. Hold up, you read instructions? I thought that was just there as packing material. 50 seconds at the bottom of turn 3. The Fists Noel on defense. They have closed in on the offense, and now a blitz by Griff Oberwald against Dragon Redclaw. Going after that werewolf. Only gets a push out of it, though. A 1-die against Rex the Devourer. That's the Wraith. The Wraiths are the blitzers of the Necro team. They have no hands, so they can't carry the ball. Turn 4 now for Mammal Nightmare. 2-die block to get the turn started. They got a pal. Again, 8+ is going to break armor by these werewolves. Rolled Snake Eyes on the armor roll. And now 2-die against Hollyann Divey, the #1 Troll Slayer. Gets a pal here. 9+ breaks armor. There's the armor break. And gets a stun. So there's that. The power of starting out with thick skull. Even if you get the armor break on these dwarves, they've got very thick skulls. Sometimes they're just going to be stunned. Double pushes here against Peppermint, the rookie lineman. Just forward of the ball. Ball advances downfield to the 18-yard line. So Mammal Nightmare looks to be getting on the board early here. We'll see how long they can stall this out. 2-die block back at the line of scrimmage. Gets a pal against Nutmeg. Werewolf blitz yet again. This time against Griff. Got the pal. So Claw's still in effect. It's an 8+ instead of a 9+. Can he get rid of this star player? Needed a pal. Griff is a blodger. Griff can fend, saying that the werewolf cannot follow up. And triggers fend, does not break armor. Hank the Ranger, welcome to the stream. Hank the Ranger says, Peppermint is probably my favorite dwarf on this team. If I had to choose, because no one likes dwarves. Mr. Rocker Crocker says, I would have pushed Griffin the other direction. 3 assist foul with the dirty player. Well, with the DP, that could have been a dragon punch. What do I know? Zorath Flesh Renderer, the other ghoul runner, is going to pull up just behind the ball carrier. And now another foul on Frostbite. 1 assist on the foul. The ref calls it again. Says, come on, man. Yeah, not this time. You got away with it once. Not this time. And so now Rot Gut Mix Smash has been called off the pitch. And it's 10v10 now. Turn 4 for the Fist Noel. If you're new to the game of Blood Bowl, when you foul someone, so fouling is a once per turn action you can take. You can get assists, very similar in the way that you can get assists for a block. But when you foul, it's just a straight armor break roll. You're not rolling block dice or anything. And each assist effectively reduces the armor value of the person you're fouling by 1. If you break armor, it's normal rules beyond that, right? If you break armor, you make an injury roll and then perhaps a casualty roll. The problem is, if you roll doubles on that armor roll or the injury roll, then you get called off the pitch. .53 seconds to go in the first quarter. Gets a foul here against Vrax the Devourer. These Wraiths have a foul appearance. You have to roll a d6 before taking a block against them. A block or a blitz, I should say. And if you roll a 1 on that d6, you refuse to touch them. Hey! Let's go! Foul game USA! Yeah! Got the KO! On the foul. The ref is on point. 3 fouls, 3 calls by the ref. Jingle Bellafleur called off the pitch on the foul, but hey, let's do it. Let's go. Bad Dog says, if you're new to Blood Bowl and you foul, give yourself a round of applause and do it again. Another dwarf called off, or another dwarf removed here due to the call off. Yeah, the coach was called off as well, thrown out as well. So when you try to, you can argue the call in the game. So if you do get called off, you have a couple of options. Or if you get called out for your foul, you get a couple of options. One, you can just bribe the ref. You pay them a bribe. Bribes cost for most teams 100,000 gold, and you roll a d6. So long as it's not a 1, he'll take your bribe, and you'll stay on the pitch. Another thing you can do is you can argue with the ref. You can try to argue the call. If you roll a 6. The ref accepts your argument. You stay on the pitch. It's still a turnover. If you roll a 1, if you roll anything other than a 6, you're out. But if you roll a 1, not only are you out, but you as the coach get called off as well, which means you can no longer argue the call for the rest of the game, and you get a penalty to the brilliant coaching kickoff event. MAML Nightmare parks the ball on the opposing 24-yard line. No dwarves around that ball carrier right now. Turn 5 for the Fist Noel. So the Dwarven team left behind, which I don't know if likely is the right word, but I mean, when you're up against a speedy team, like, it's very hard for dwarves to keep up. They've really got to stay in front of that ball, and once a fast team breaks free, it can be hard to follow up. You'll often see the runners play in the secondary. They'll be the safeties just so they can cover against a breakaway player. But for the Fist Noel, they lost one of their runners last week due to injury, so they're only playing with a single runner, and that runner has just been sent off the pitch. Griff Blitz against Craven Blade Claw. Gets a skull here. Will probably spend the reroll. There it is. Gets a both standing result out of this. 1 die blitz by Griff. Back at the line of scrimmage, there's a both standing against Mortis the Mangled. That's the number 7 Flesh Golem. Holding down the fort at mid-pitch here. Turn 6 now for MAML Nightmare. They could score if they want to, but I think they're going to try to stall this out till turn 8. Two die straight up against Griff. Gets a push. Pushes Griff next to that Werewolf. Dragon Red Claw. We'll get a shot at Griff coming up shortly here. Grum, the number 2 lineman, knocked to the ground. And armor broken again. Gets stunned. Frenzy follow-up against Ribbons into double pushes. Craven Blade Claw on the block. Festoon doing a great job of keeping these dwarves out and continuing to block them down, leveraging these werewolves. We talked about how they would have to do that here tonight. Leveraging these werewolves to try to remove dwarves. Been working out so far. Has a KO. 1 die against Griff will be a dodge push. Another 1 die, this time by Decompose, the number 9 lineman. And again, a dodge push out of this. Tinsel knocked to the ground. Tinsel, level 2 lineman, picked up the guard skill. Guard allows him to lend an assist on a block, that is, even if marked. Here's the blitz by the downfield Ghoul Runner. Zorath Flesh Render gets a push against Ribbons, the rookie lineman. Nurgle's Rot with the 5 stream streak. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. Turn 6 now for the Fist Noel. Man, I got my energy bill a couple days ago, and it was so expensive. It was nearly 60% more expensive than the same time last year. And I was like, did I really use that much more energy? No. I used less electricity this past month than I did the same time last year, and yet my bill is 60% more expensive. Insanity. Minute 10 to go in turn number 6 here. The Fist Noel still holding on to 2 rerolls. MAML Nightmare is doing a good job after that first turn, losing that reroll on the very first block of the game. They've held on to their second reroll. Good action order in effect. In practice? In practice, I think is the phrase I want. MAML Nightmare in strong control of this game here. They're getting a little thin. They just have to be a little careful, but I think with 2 turns left, they're going to be okay here. BB Nut says, well, luckily you guys have a smart down-to-earth leader. I'm sure we'll sort it out. Yeah. 2-die blitz by Griff against Dragon Redclaw here. Got the pal, looking for a 9+. Doesn't get it. Hunting these werewolves. Doing a good job of hunting these werewolves. Just not getting the armor breaks. Rube says the gas company here gives you a fixed rate option for a year. If you don't take it, they will charge you a variable rate, which ends up being 4 to 5 times more expensive. It's basically a scam. I don't know what our company does. I think what they do is there's like the normal price, and that's what I paid, and then you can like opt in to like surge pricing or something where like you'll pay less if you don't use more during surge days or something like that. I'm not really sure. But like if it's really hot outside, I don't I don't want to use like if I'm going to use less, then I'll just use less. You know what I mean? Blitz on Griff once more. Got the pal here. Again, it's just an 8+ with claws. Trying desperately to get Griff off the pitch here. Got the armor break. Just gets a stun out of it. Wow, that is crazy move. Another armor break back near the line of scrimmage, gets a stun out of it. Yeah, maybe I'll look into what my energy company's doing and see if I can adjust it somehow, because boy, I mean it was 60% more expensive. And I used less. I didn't use all that less, but it was still less. Turn 7 now for the Fist Noel. 2 turns to try to stop the score. I don't think they're going to stop the score at this point. They're just, I think, going to try to get some blocks in, maybe keep some players alive, and try to hunt these werewolves. I don't see them stopping the score here. A skull against Rex the Devourer. May as well spend it here in turn 7. Fist Noel down to 1 reroll. They're going to get a push. Another thing these wraiths have is sidestep. Instead of getting pushed into one of the 3 spaces behind you, you can be pushed into any adjacent space, and you, as the person getting blocked, as the coach of the player getting blocked, that is, you get to decide in which of those spaces you'll be pushed. So sidestep is great for getting extra movement, but it's also great for avoiding getting surfed. So, right, if I'm here and you come in for a typical surf and you try to block me, well, I can say, you know what? I'm just going to go here instead. Or here, or wherever. It's very hard to surf a player with sidestep. And it's also great to avoid chain blocks. So if you take a block in a direction where you're trying to get a chain block to guarantee you're getting the knockdown, if I have sidestep, I can say, no, you're not getting another block on me. It's a very, very good skill. Turn 8 now for Mammal Nightmare. So they have a re-roll left, so they're going to be taking some blocks here. Dragon Redclaw on the Blitz. Gets the knockdown against Grom. Another removed dwarf. It's all about the werewolves in this matchup. That's a 2-man player. No, that's a 1-man player advantage for Mammal Nightmare. Good use of the werewolves. 8+ is not a lot, and now here on turn 8, they will score, and Mammal Nightmare ain't no thing. They're going to get on the board 1-0 here in the first half. One more turn left in the half, unless, of course, there is a timeout. And it'll be very difficult for these dwarves to get on the board, but we'll see what'll happen. So I think it'll be 11. No, it's got to be 10, right? It's got to be 10. Yeah, 10v10 on the pitch. Mammal Nightmare setting up their defense just to keep players safe. They've got to put 3 on the line. Everybody else will be covering the the end zone. And now the Fist Noel will be looking to murder 3 linemen. They'll also try to pass for some SPP. It won't be likely, but they'll give it a shot. Big loss fouling with that runner. That's scary. Now they've lost their runner. That's their fastest piece. So now their fastest piece is going to be these Troll Slayers at MA5. They also have the Blitzers here at an MA5 as well. Hank the Ranger says I could go for some sweltering heat here. A phrase I've never said it. I've never said in my life. Here's the kick. Cheering fans, what's the prayer? Under scrutiny. They've already been under scrutiny. So for this final turn, if the Fist Noel decides to foul, they're automatically going to get called off, so they won't risk it. Griff on the block on the right side of the line, gets nothing out of it. 2-die against Decompose, gets the knockdown. Looking for a 9+. Got nothing out of this. Final block. Got the PAL. Can he get a 9+ out of this? Got the armor. Hey! It worked out. Very well done. Regen's going to kick in, so didn't actually get much out of that other than 2 SPP, which is not nothing. So that'll be the end of the half. Fist Noel not going to risk or not going to attempt the pass. So they'll be back on offense here. They're down 1 touchdown going into the second half of this game. And now MAML Nightmare to set up for real on defense. So Necro teams, Necro and Undead teams, they have this trait here. You can see it's called regeneration. So they're not allowed to bring an apothecary onto their roster. And that's because they have a lot of players with regen. Regen says if you take a casualty, roll a d6. And on a 4+, you don't actually take that casualty. You just go back into the reserve box. So there's a 50-50 shot that you don't actually take the casualty that that was scored against you. Your opponent still gets the SPP for it, but you'll just come back on the pitch in the next drive. Anchor formation for the defense. Currently 3 on the line for the offense. Griff Oberwald back to receive. So going to use Griff as the ball carrier. That means if Griff scores, he'll eat up the SPP for the touchdown. But you know what? It's all about winning games. So if Griff can get in the end zone and earn you a W, I think that might be worth it. All right, 2 in either wide zone. Spread out wide here on the offense. Here's the kick. The weather is going to change to be exactly what it was. 1 extra bounce on the deep kick here. Kick to the 22-yard line over in the right wide zone. Second half is underway. Gets a pow over on the left defensive end. Corpse grip, Stumblefoot going to be knocked to the ground. Spire says it's hard to root for dwarves, but the player names are on point. And now 2-die against Stitchjaw Brain Snatcher. Gets the armor break and the stun out of this. Final block on the line. This will be a knockdown as well. Actually, I think it might be a push. Well, it's not going to be a push. It's going to be a wrestle to the ground. So no armor break, but both players are going to get knocked to the ground. Griff recovering the ball here. So we haven't really talked too much about Griff, but Griff, one of my favorite star players. MA7 is great. Strength 4 is great. Edge 2 is fantastic. PA3, not bad at all. AV9 is average. He's got block. He's got dodge. He's got sprint. He's got sure feet. Sprint means instead of 2 rushes, he can rush 3 times. Sure feet means he can re-roll a failed rush. So in a single turn, Griff can move 10 spaces. And if that weren't enough, my man's got fend. If you block Griff, he can say, all right, you can block me, but you're not following up. Dwarves pulling in real tight here at center pitch. We'll see if MAML Nightmare is going to swing around this Dwarven team or not. I think they just might and start to apply pressure to the ball carrier. Two-die blitz to get things started on the right side. Got a pal against Shane Fairy Tale McCole. Gets the knockdown, repositions to mark out the right side of the line here. MAML Nightmare looks to be swinging Craven Blade Claw and the Headless Horseman down the right side of the pitch. Yes, indeed. Here they come. Ooh, not getting overly aggressive with Craven Blade Claw. So they can swing around the pitch here. If they can mark out, right, as they're doing here, right, they're taking a mark here. Right, if they can mark out these dwarves, these are not agile pieces. These dwarves can be pushed to the side. And then Griff is fast. He could swing out here, but he'd be by himself. You still have two fast pieces over here as well. You can start to apply some pressure. If the Dwarven team would respond by swinging out to the left, then you can start to, or you can attempt to encircle them over on the left side. Festoon deciding not to get overly aggressive here is going to allow this ball to move up to the line with the Dwarves. Dwarves want to be grouped up. They want to be together in a cage. They want to be getting those assists. They have players with guard. They have lots of block. They have tackle. Ooh, a rush by Griff Oberwald to get up to the line of scrimmage. The ball's now on the Fist Noel's 4-yard line. Ooh, one die block against Decomposed. Does get the armor break here. Gets a stun out of it. Because this is a game of chucking dice, and any chuck of the dice can result in the early termination of your turn, you want to be doing your least risky actions first and your more risky actions down the road. If you start with a really risky action, let's say you start, for the sake of argument, you start with something that succeeds 1 in 10 times. Well, chances are great that you're going to fail. And if you fail, you don't get to activate anyone else. But if you start with something that succeeds 9 in 10 times, well, chances are you're going to succeed, and now you're going to get another activation. And so if you order your actions in that way, probabilistically, then chances are you're going to get as many activations as you can. And that's what you want to do, because actions, of course, matter in any game, right? Any game, anything where you have agency, you want to act. That's how you win games. And so this is a game where you really have to learn to not start your turn super risky, if at all possible. Now, of course, your opponent knows that this is what you want to do, and so they'll try to put you into situations where you just really don't have a lot of choice, or you're really incentivized to take a risk early, and that's all part of the game. Segnor's Loop says, "I heard actions may perhaps speak louder than words." Segnor's Loop, welcome to the stream. Minute 28 on the clock here for MAML Nightmare. Two die against Holly Ann Divey. Gets a knockdown. No, blitz on the right side by the Ghoul Runner. Zorath Flesh Render gets a push. Render, not renderer. Flesh Render. Won't follow up here on the blitz. Still has plenty of movement left. Will reposition that Ghoul Runner back into the secondary. I'm surprised with their Christmas theming that they didn't just take a green pitch with the red blood splatters. Blitz has been spent, repositioning players, so decided not to take, not to get overly committed in the right wide zone. Reposition those two fast players, that Ghoul Runner and the Werewolf, back into the secondary over on the left side. So just resetting this defense and allowing the Dwarves to take the momentum here and decide where they want to go. Just playing it cool. I have to go to the grocery store, and I really don't want to. I don't really like grocery shopping. Two-Dive Block gets a pal. I mean, I like eating food, so I do it. Minute 7 to go in the turn. Both standing result over on the right side of the line. Festook's been doing a real good job of keeping these werewolves safe. In the first half of the game, they were exposed a little bit. I think got a little cocky with the werewolves, but they stayed alive. And now keeping the werewolves safe and secure. And doing a great job of actioning with them as well. Knows how powerful these werewolves are to break through this high armor of this dwarven team, and has used it to good effect so far. What the Fist Noel's going to have to do here on this turn is they're going to have to find a way to push down pitch. They're very slow with an MA of 4 on all the linemen, and they want to stay caged up. That means that cage. Oh, an uphill block over on the left side. This is going to be a skull. I don't think they'll re-roll it. Yeah, that'll be the end of the turn. Took the uphill. That was 3v4. And now turn 11 for MAML Nightmare. But with an MA of 4, that cage, the most that cage is going to move in a turn is 4 spaces. So that means as a Dwarven team, especially with no runners, you really want to be trying to grab a space a turn. You want to start pushing down pitch, and ideally, you want to be at midfield here. Right? You want to be somewhere around here so that you maximize your movement options. By maximizing your movement options, that's going to give you more opportunities to keep pushing that ball downfield. Two-die block on the left side of the line. Gets the knockdown. Will that be the Telestrator of Doom? We'll see. So far, it's been a pretty muted game in terms of Kaz's, but we'll see. And now MAML Nightmare starting to apply some pressure to these dwarves. Took a blitz over on the left side by the Flesh Golem. Mortis the Mangled repositions. Trying to force the dwarves to the right, it seems. That's just the kind of drawing we need to get the blood flowing. Mediocre greatness, welcome to the stream. Another foul! Whoa, this one works out, let's go! No, will get called off on this foul. This ref, boy, this ref deserves a raise. Absolutely on point in this game. Another removal. So 1 for 1, and that'll be a turnover. Turn 12 for the Fist Noel. Got the removal on the foul. I think that's a good trade for MAML Nightmare. Move says, I have a feeling the coaches are going to be waiting for the ref in the parking lot. Oh, that new Donkey Kong game came out today, didn't it? Oh, I could get my first Switch 2 game. Well, I guess my second Switch 2 game, because I did buy the HD remaster of Bravely Default. One die block gets... I haven't played it. I've been playing Death Stranding 2. I gotta look up reviews of the Donkey Kong game first. It looks like Donkey Kong Red Faction, and if that's the case, I'm totally down for that. But if it's more like Banjo-Kazooie, I don't like collectathons too much. All right, so advances the ball just the one space. Still no real movement by this Dwarven team, and now lots of blocks for MAML Nightmare to take. Here's the first one. 2-die block over on the left side of the cage. Breaks armor, follows up. Follows up with that flesh column. Remember, that flesh column is a strength of 4. Double pals against Holly and Ivy. Co-Spotterism did do a very good name with the, or a very good name, a very good job with these names. Also a very good name with these shops. Knocked down to a chain push over on the right side. Now there's a mark on the ball. 2 marks on the ball, in fact. But it's Griff Oberwald. He's not afraid. He's not afraid. He's Griff Oberwald. Please. Griff Oberwald. He says, get off me. Get off me. Griff pushed back to the Fist Noel's 4-yard line. And the blitzer, Zorath Fleshrender, will just reposition right back where he was. So MAML Nightmare just staying in front of this Dwarven team. Just needs to keep him out of the end zone here. 4th quarter begins. Turn 13 for the Fist Noel. Again, MAML Nightmare does have a significant speed advantage, so this is a perfectly valid strategy here. They're in the lead. They still have 2 rerolls. A rush to take a mark against Brack the Bludgeoner on the right side. Burl the Snowman Ivy. It's the number 5 blitzer taking the mark on the right side. Griff moving laterally to the right, now in the right wide zone. We'll see if the defense, if the offense is going to shift to the right, we'll see if the defense collapses in on this offense and just keeps it stuck in place. I love this game. I played an old Games Workshop board game last night, Block Mania. It's a 2080 like Judge Dredd game. Ton of fun. I love it so much. We actually played the Mega Mania version with 4 players. My building was in terrible shape. It was in terrible shape. But one of the players so one player sent his city defense to, so if you're unfamiliar, it's in the Judge Dredd universe where people live in big domed cities, not unlike 40, well, kind of unlike 40K, but anyway, and like people go crazy from being packed in too tight and being impoverished, and so they wage wars against other city blocks, and it's called having block mania, right? So we were playing this game, and you control like one of the city blocks, and one of the players sent his city defense to light a fire in the other player's block. So his part of his block's on fire. Oh, quad skulls after the reroll. That'll be a turnover. So the Fist Noel gets a little bit of breathing room here. Rolled double skulls, spent the reroll, and rolled 2 more skulls. Praise Nuffle. Shave Stone says, disgusting. Welcome to the stream. But anyway, he lights a fire, and the fire can spread, and like these are, tall, like multi-level like city domes, and so they can start to collapse. So it's on fire. He starts to put out the fires. I send a guy in with a flamethrower. I go across. There's something called the pedway. It's like a moving platform for pedestrians. Go across the pedway, go up one of his elevators, up to where his water tank is, light his water tank on fire, which collapses the roof of his block, and then all hell breaks loose. It's my favorite part of that game. It's just watching floors of people collapse due to something stupid. Like you get like rich in the game thematically. You get like rich cranks who like try to be like superheroes. So you can actually become Batman. You can have a guy wear a bat suit and start flying around outside the city. Oh, it's the best. I had people start invading my block, so I got nervous, so I shut off all the power. So that everyone was in the dark and it was harder to shoot. Turn 14 for MAML Nightmare. Griff Oberwald is on the opposing 6-yard line, is in danger of a blitz. There's the mark against Griff. Griff with the strength of 4. Currently would be a 1-die blitz, probably with a werewolf, but would have to be careful of the frenzy follow-up. So he'd probably come in this way. And then again this way. Spire says, I was very excited today. I survived El Nubarino's all block works without any permanent injuries on my legends. Congratulations. Mediocre Greatness says, I skated by unharmed this week before versus those block works. It was great to get the draw. Here we go. Here's the blitz. 1-die blitz against Griff Oberwald. Gets a dodge push out of this. And will not be able to follow up due to fend. Good 3+ dodge by the werewolf to get to safety. And that'll be the blitz. So Griff is going to remain on his feet. Still tagged by number 5, Burl the Snowman Ivy. 2-die block against Shane Fairytale McCole. I have never seen as many injuries on a dwarf team as this. Well done. Well done. That's another dwarf Kaz. 2 points of SPP for Decompose. Oppo's going to be spent. And the Oppo does his job. Well done. So Shane McCole will stay in the game. We'll go back to the reserve box. Turn 15 for the Fist Noel. Cleffy says, feel the embrace of fire. Electric Span, welcome to the stream. Turn 15 for the Fist Noel. Are they going to be able to tie this ball game? Griff Oberwald does have an MA of 7. Will have to end this turn in scoring position. Remember, Griff does have sprint, so Griff is just 1 space shy of scoring right now. Electric Span says, is it just me, or did that look like a ref making a hit? It is not just you. That is the uniform of MAML Nightmare. Rube says, I feel like it's time for Griff to do Griff things. Uphill block! Took the uphill block against Stitch-Jaw Brain Snatcher. And that is going to be a knockdown. That is a null turn. What did I just miss? I have no idea what just happened. Oh, he has the block. I see. Griff Oberwald's going to shoot down, pitch now. Good dodge, couple of rushes. Griff now on the opposing 20-yard line. Griff is a blodger. Two-die block over the left wide zone. Segner's Loop, thank you very much for the bits. Move says, why is he not activating more dwarf players? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Griff by his lonesome will be the target of another blitz. Here we go. Good 3+ dodge. One die blitz by Craven Blade Claw is going to be a push, and Griff will fend him away. Rushes into position with the werewolf to take a second mark on Griff. But can he get anybody else there? I don't know if that rush was worth it. I guess, well, yeah, I guess it was worth it because he doesn't want Griff getting the 2-die blitz. Tizzle Bizzle says Griff is a beast. Griff is awesome. I love Griff. 2-die block. Way back on the right side of the line. Gets a pow out of this. Peppermint knocked to the ground. No armor break. Are we going to see a rush with Dragon Redclaw, the other werewolf over in the right wide zone? We are in... Oh, failed the rush. All right. Turn 16 for the Fist Noel. Are they getting on the board? They have 2 rerolls. It is a 2+ dodge to score. The Griff overwalled. There's the score, 1-1. Griff does it again. 1-1 the score with a turn left. The Fist Noel, no turns remaining unless there's a timeout. I think, well, we'll see what they're going to do. I imagine they'll pull back into the end zone, especially with not having a lot of speed. They've got 5-8 on the pitch here. Moop says Griff is such a jerk. Festoon says, GG's my opponent couldn't stop Griff. Yep, Griff is awesome. Griff is awesome. I'm surprised that Griff was the inducement pick, but still worked out. Very well done. Oh, so the Fist Noel, they are going to be playing up near the line of scrimmage. So we'll see if there's a timeout. If there's a timeout, they've got to play real defense here. Bad Dog says, oh, look, Griff scored a touchdown. What a surprise. Look at that. So 9v9 on the pitch. It looks like Festoon is setting up for a 1-turn. Here's the kick. Deep kick! But that's going to be a touchback. Oh, no. The pitch invasion is against Peppermint. So that clears up that corner. Does Festoon have a 1-turn touchdown? Well, not with a knockdown. So I think that's going to be the game here. It's going to be 1-1 the final. Moop says, Griff is almost always a great inducement if you want to not lose. He tends to steal SPP from your team, but he scores touchdowns. He does score touchdowns. I will always take Griff. I'll take Morg if I can take Morg, but I'll take Griff otherwise. Man, I remember a time when I thought Morg was overcosted. And then Blood Bowl 2020 came out. Bad Dog says, Griff is as close to a one-man team you'll get in this game. Mediocre greatness says Morg is worth every penny. Yeah, I agree. Move says a combined 38 seconds of time bank used. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, very efficient turns for both coaches here in this game. This will end up as a 1-1 draw. This will be the first point picked up by the Fist Noel here in this competition. MAML Nightmare will remain undefeated. Well done. Well played. That was a fun one. Griff Oberwald does it again. And this one's going to end in a draw. MAML Nightmare is going to remain in second place. Their record now here at the end of week 5. Well, we're still in the middle of week 5, but after they played their week 5 game, they are 3-2-0. Congratulations to both coaches. That was a lot of fun to watch. And why don't we take a look at the schedule before we leave for the evening? GG's indeed. Plenty more games here in week number 5. Coming up next, we have a game this Saturday, July 19th at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's UTC -4. That's the Remnants of Valor versus who? My favorite team. That's going to be S Beaver versus Electrics Man. That's Humans versus... Oh, I've already forgot what what my favorite team is. That's going to be Humans versus Black Orcs, naturally. It's my favorite team, after all. Humans versus Black Orcs and S Beaver versus Electrics Man. And then this Sunday, July 20th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we're going to have the Wasabazas versus the Dream of Wish Foundation, War Horsemen versus Nick Satan. That's going to be Amazons versus Halflings. That's going to be a blast. And then this Tuesday, July 22nd, you're reading that correctly, at 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we're going to have the Believe Broncos versus Odin. It's Nuffle. BB Nut versus Clypheus. We've got Nurgle versus Norse. That'll be fun as well. Yep, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stream it. We'll see how well that goes. 4 games left to be scheduled here in week number 5. And when so Clypheus says, I still don't believe you. Watch me. When those games get scheduled, you'll be able to check out and get alerted to those schedule or to that schedule on our website at maml.club. That's MAML.CLUB here on Twitch or on our social media pages on Blue Sky X and Facebook. You can also watch previous games on our YouTube channel. Play Blood Bowl, man. This game, Segnor Slip says, I'll bring the mojitos. That's the perfect time. This game's a ton of fun. You can play Blood Bowl via Blood Bowl 3 on Steam. I'm a little sad. I'm mildly sad I didn't see a Death Roller today. I was really hoping for the Death Roller. You can play Blood Bowl via Blood Bowl 3 on Steam, the Epic Game Store, PlayStation, and Xbox, and in tabletop form at your friendly local game store. Mediocre Greatness says, Ava played me until 10:15-ish the night before. Yep, it's all gonna work out. That's right, I've got it taken care of. Until Saturday at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. I will be here bright and early on Tuesday. Watch me.